So if there's any certainty in life, you can just expect me to never have enough really cool, fun, dope effects to do inside of Photoshop. So that's what we're gonna do in today's video. I'm gonna be going on TikTok and just finding some really cool effects and just re-showing them to you guys, and even just going through and trying to show you guys how to do some more variety on it as well. Because all I'm gonna say is in the world of AI and stuff like that, experimental design, effects, cool things to do, it's kind of becoming normal very quickly. So I would pocket this video, leave a like, and don't forget to like save it or something like that in like your Notion notes. And just so you guys know, you might even see in today's video here today, and I'm referring to the Everything Pack, which is my personal design resources that I use across many campaigns and very dope companies for years now. And what is actually in that pack is all of my design resources, over 600 plus assets, ranging from textures, vectors, fonts, to whatever you might name it. Even gradients. You need gradients? I quite literally design with it every single day, and then most recently added a new Photoshop plugin that you guys can instantly drag and drop your assets directly from Photoshop into your canvas and just make some cool stuff. As always, the first link in the description down below. Let's get this thing started. Okay, so the first video we have Ty with his grunge text effect. Now, if I play this through, okay, starts with like a 2026 or 2006. I guess that's like more of the genre. Using Helvetica, he double clicks on this little drop shadow, opacity, spread, and size. Interesting. Then he combines those layers, converts to a smart object, of course. Another Gaussian blur, which kind of interesting. Then this is the new thing that I don't really flirt with too much, is he uses a texture, some kind of grunge texture, changes it to hard mix, and it automatically gives you like a threshold automatically without actually using threshold, plays with the levels of it a little bit, starts adding some more icons in it. And basically that like grunge texture layer that you kind of see on his layers is activating, or is like the active layer for the effect. Anything you put below it also gets the same effect, which is really nice, super quick as well for like quick like setups for like mock-ups and stuff. Super cool technique. And I don't really use hard mix on textures too much because I don't really know how I can like take away the effect, because sometimes I want to have it in like a transparent world, but I can show you guys how to do that too. But let's go give this a shot because I like it. So like 2026, I'm going to use 2026. I won't use Helvetica. I think I'm using Suzy International. We double click on this and we use a drop shadow. Now the drop shadow itself, it was looking like by the way, his size like all the way up and his spread was playing around. This is what you might have if you have like 300 resolution. So if you are, lower your size down and then work with that spread to get something like this. And this is kind of where he was flirting on. I'm gonna say like something like this to me is almost like a Gaussian blur. So for me, I press OK, right? Control click on these two layers to select both of them. Control J to duplicate them. Control E to merge them. Then right click, convert to smart object, and then filter, blur, Gaussian blur, right? That's what he did, and he Gaussian blurred again. But at this point, I feel like it's not actually necessary. Okay, I just found a random black texture like this. This is kind of similar to what he had, and I want to make sure I make it as close as possible. Then he changed his blend mode from normal to hard mix, and right here you can start to see the effect kind of happen. Now, I'm assuming with this Gaussian, for the record, look at Gaussian blur, no Gaussian blur. Almost no difference. Even if I bring this Gaussian blur up, it might actually even make it worse. Yeah. So I'm thinking you don't even probably need the second layer. You just need that one singular like sans serif font with a drop shadow on it that makes it look something like this, right? Remember? And then have this on hard mix like a texture. And then if I go ahead and just go to adjustments, mode adjustments, and then use levels while I'm on this layer, play around with this. And this is kind of how we're going to get a little bit of a different effect. I can bring in the highlight parts and bring this in to get more of that like strippling going on. But it's nothing like quite different, which is why actually I want to test something, right? I brought in another quick little texture. If I use this one on hard mix, start playing with this, I can get some pretty cool looks. I mean, it's pretty dope. And I'm assuming if I put any shape in here, let's do like a random Y2K star. And then anything I drag below this random hard mix layer should add the effect. Oh, I'm guessing it should add the effect only if I smart object it. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur. There we go. As long as I add that little bit of Gaussian blur, that's how we can go ahead and get some pretty cool theories in here. And honestly, a very dope way to make this like an active layer and like quickly make some really cool designs. Now, the cool part that I want to show you guys, just because I was like, hey, if I mess with this, what happens, right? since it is a drop shadow and since it is basically all active at the same time, I'm gonna use that word a lot because that's kind of what makes this effect kind of cool. If I make this size a little bit bigger, you can kind of mess with this. You can mess with the spread a little bit more. If you mess around with this and flirt with this, let's say you stop here, you go to your contours, and if we just like flip through some of these contours, we can probably get some other cool effects that no one's like really playing with right now, in my opinion. Like, this is kind of sick, no? Also, don't ever get discouraged, like click on the contour grid itself and kind of like move around here and start playing with some stuff, because as you can see, you can get some pretty cool effects. You can quickly make this like an editable or like movable thing. If we just go over here to this adjustment layer, go over here to where it says solid color, okay? We're gonna press okay. We're gonna right click and delete the layer mask on this color fill. Then I'm gonna turn it off, right? And what I'll do is I'm gonna go to where it says select color range, click on the black, and we're gonna make sure our fuzziness is on like, it might not matter too much. I'm just gonna put it at 100 for now. Press okay. That'll also, of course, select all the black in the layer. Now, if we go back to our color fill and then just simply click on the layer mask to bring the layer mask back in using this marquee selection, you can see if I turn everything off for a second, we just have our layer now in a nice little editable, quick, rearranged moment where you can kind of start playing with this and use it as stamps, something like that, which is pretty cool. So, I mean, honestly, a dope technique, Ty, so shout out you, because I think I'm a pocket this one personally. Well, let's go on. Let's see what else we got. Okay, so the next effect is we have this colored threshold effect by Nina. Choose an image, and then from this image, you use camera raw filter. And with camera raw filter, you just put a bunch of grain, a good amount of size, and a good amount of roughness. You're doing Control J to make a copy, okay? With the copy, you're using threshold, messing with the threshold adjustment, and then you're gonna select both the threshold layer and the copy earlier and convert them into a smart object, okay? And then select color range, click black, which you kind of just did this technique before, add the mask, and then you have the colored threshold on top of the effect. I see, okay. That's a pretty interesting way to actually do that. Let's just give it a shot. After we choose an image, we go to filter, camera raw filter. In here, we're gonna go to where it says effects, and we're gonna basically have a 100% grain. Oh, grain has a drop down. I didn't even recognize that. Okay, I just learned something. So grain has a drop down. Okay, in the grain drop down, the size is on 25 and the roughness is on like 75 or so. Okay, from here we're gonna make a copy, so Control J. And then after we Control J, we go to image, adjustments, threshold. And it doesn't seem like they're telling us to kind of tweak anything, but what I'm gonna make sure I do is like, this is too dark, right? There's not enough white space for it to be actually transparent later on. So I'm gonna just kind of move this towards the left so that way it's a little more balanced with highlights and shadows. Oh, wait a second. Is it a threshold layer? It's a threshold layer. Hold. So don't, whoops. After the original copy, we do threshold. So adjustments, and then threshold, same thing goes as follow. Move this towards the left a little bit. Once your threshold is good, you press Control click on the original copy. You merge these together with convert to smart object. Now with this layer here, we end up going to where it says select color range, choosing the black. The fuzziness is probably not going to matter too much here, so I'm going to keep it on 100. And then simply on your threshold layer, add a mask. And there we go. There's the effect itself. Okay, I messed up a little bit, but I got it. So this is actually pretty dope. This is given like, you know, your regular t-shirt concept here. I feel like I do this effect, but a little bit differently. And honestly, it doesn't come out as good as this. So I'll take that, right? Let's just say you find a decent enough font. What about like a purple or something like that? You know what I mean? Like this right here, t-shirt, easy. Shout out Nina, and I appreciate this one. I'm gonna keep this in my pocket. So thank you. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so for the next effect, since we're kind of on that like kind of grunge stipply kind of effect, we have Stippled with his Stippled threshold effect. Okay, so let's see what happens. Step one, bring in your image and convert it to a smart object, and then add a little bit of noise, a little bit of Gaussian blur, threshold, and then a shadow and highlights layer. Selects a brush tool, lowers the opacity down to like 15 or so. Okay, so then he kind of organically paints in that stripling kind of effect, which is basically like very, very small pixels that are happening in here. Pretty dope. Adds a gradient map, and then you're kind of done. Interesting. I actually think this is pretty cool. Okay, so to do this, like he said, is have your image, okay, and then convert it to a smart object. And then we're gonna add some noise. We're gonna go to filter, noise, add noise. We're gonna add a little bit of like uniform noise. And then we go ahead and go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. And then he added 0.4 Gaussian blur. And then he went ahead and just added a threshold adjustment layer. So over here, down below. And this is where he adds the new shadow and highlight layers. Now I'm gonna do the same thing as him for the first one. So shadows, just like so, and then highlights. Then he takes his brush, 0% hardness, decent sized brush, and then his opacity on this brush is about 15%. And now all he ends up doing is using black and white. So for whites on the highlights, and like clicks in order to add in some highlights in certain areas. And then for certain like things like black, when I change my color to black, he goes to shadows and he clicks in here to add it in for the shadows. Okay, so yeah, why not? I mean, that kind of works. It's a little bit less, what is it called? I want to use a word like permanent, right? Because you could, let's say for instance, make a new layer, make it a 50% gray, fill that in with gray. I'm thinking possibly put it on overlay. And then if I were to use where it says dodge for highlights, right? And then burn for shadows, it's sort of the same thing, right? Yeah, it's sort of the same thing, but maybe a little bit easier, better for someone. Okay, so I don't mind this, but I will say I'm gonna adjust this to make sure we get more highlights in beforehand. But the shadows, nice little black. I'm gonna actually lower my opacity even more to like 10%. I'm not getting nearly as much like spread as he is. He's like clicking once and getting way more spread, but in certain areas for certain, like it's working in certain areas. Oh, wait, forgot the gradient map, hold on. Stacera, I mean, it's pretty dope. Maybe it's like specific for like photos and like where you can get or how much you can get out of here. Like for instance, if I probably brought in, for instance, let's just try like doing like a curve, right? I just started kind of playing with this a little bit and seeing what happens if I add in some shadows now. It's still dope and it's still something with a good gradient. It's threshold. Who doesn't like threshold stuff? So I'll take it as a win, okay? I'll take it as a win. Okay, so for the last effect, we have a path blur effect by a creator who, on this specific TikTok, just like completely stole the video, so I'm not gonna worry about it too much. But for whatever reason, I never showed a path blur effect. So I'm gonna just really quickly watch this one, okay? So of course, they're kind of doing some little select subject moment here, copying them out. Then they're gonna add a solid color behind that person, make a duplicate of that cut, and that's when they're using the actual path blur. Then they use edit blur shapes to kind of get like little twists and turns. And of course, they just finalize a really cool gradient map that just makes it all come to life. Pretty simple. I mean, I've used path blur once or twice in my life, but let me just quickly show off, I guess, how to do it. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and just go to use a little select subject to get, of course, our subject of this photo out here. We're gonna add a nice little solid color. Now, really quick, I wish I remembered what that background was, because it was kind of nice that they had originally for the photo. Here's this. We're gonna make a duplicate of the actual photo. Now, for the photo duplicate, this is where we're gonna go to filter, filter gallery, and then use path blur. Now, I'm assuming all we gotta do is just kind of drag this out a little bit. Do I have a layer mask on? I do. Make sure you don't have a layer mask on for the record. So when I cut out the actual subject, you can't have an actual layer mask inside the path blur, which is probably why they actually rasterized this layer first originally anyway. But I'm gonna just quickly smart object it, and then I'll go back into where it says filter, blur gallery, and then path blur. Now, if I drag this out, I should actually start to get a little something. Okay, now we're gonna use speed and taper. What is our speed and taper at in this video? I mean, it's at 50 and 0. So this edit blur shape seems to be very important for this kind of, I see. Okay, so now if we click this to start playing with this, this is how we're gonna get ourselves that kind of look. Playing with this a little bit. We could even add another path blur if we want. We click and click again, and then I'll just go over here and just kind of start doing some weird stuff. I mean, it's kind of weird, but it's kind of dope. This is kind of feeling, it's kind of feeling artsy. You know what I mean? The more speed I put, the more blur it is, and this is kind of how I kind of reveal his face some more, but I definitely don't want to do that. I kind of want to make sure his face is a little bit like hidden in this regard. I'll also play with like the endpoint speed as well. I'll bring this a little bit further down to keep it more blurry toward the end, right? Bring in a nice little gradient map. So over here, adjustments, gradient map. And for this gradient, we're gonna take the highlights on this left-hand side, or the right-hand side, excuse me. So I'm gonna take a nice little highlight over here. Then I'll choose a nice little yellow over here. Then a nice little blue over here. And then for the actual shadow colors, we'll all just kind of pick a nice little darker tone something kind of like this. I want some of that red to pop in a little bit more, so I'll kind of bring this further on the towards the right, this little midpoint section here. It's sick. I mean, for whatever reason, I don't use it that often, but I can. There's totally so many fun directions you can use with path blur, and this is just happen to be how you do it. And I'm sure there's so much you can do with this for the record too. I'm just curious. I mean, here you go, right? You just put a nice, simple, quick little vertically tall font behind this, and then add a little bit of blur, or excuse me, like a little bit of light down here to play with that. I mean, there you go. You kind of have a simple, quick little fun little poster. So again, super dope. Unnamed designer person because it's a stolen TikTok, but a W nonetheless. And with that, that is the end of the video today. So hopefully you guys ended up learning some cool stuff the way I did, just some fun little different techniques to maybe do some of your favorite effects or some effects that you see on Pinterest a lot. Either way, I'm excited about it because I get to go ahead and use it in the future now, or just like at least pocket this video if I'm like, I need a cool effect. And to me, especially when the world is just becoming more and more experimental with like AI and things like that, and experimental design, it's very valuable to have certain things like these effects in your pocket. So with that, Seso HQ out. You're not forget to keep smiling, stay positive, and stay freaking productive, guys. Later, much love, peace, enjoy your day, and yeah, talk to you guys later.